This news update is brought to you by...
So, I'm meeting Rico later. Gotta check in with the girls, but first, let me check my usage on the MyLime app. Now, what should I wear? Hashtag sexy. He's here.
Welcome to the Barbados Today Afternoon Update for Tuesday, June 16. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Thanks for joining us. An emotional farewell as loved ones said their final goodbyes to Shemar Weekes. Family, friends and fellow schoolmates from Gordon Walters Primary and the Coleridge and Parry Secondary School, including Principal Vincent Ferguson, gathered at the St. Patrick's Anglican Church this morning, remembering the life of the 12-year-old who was found hanging at his Fraswell St. Lucie home on May 14. Tears flowed as mourners took a last look at his body, lying in a white casket, dressed in a cream-colored shirt and a tie. ANESTA Henry tells us more.
Right. After 4 weeks of speculation surrounding the death of 12-year-old Shemar Weekes, he was finally laid to rest just minutes ago at the St. Patrick's Anglican Church, Christchurch. Scores of family members, former school colleagues, teachers, education officials, and other well-wishers attended the service, which lasted for just over an hour. About 15 minutes into the funeral service, the media was asked to leave by police at the request of the funeral director, who claimed he was following the family's wishes. However, at the gravesite in the churchyard, there was a lot of crying and screaming as his white and silver casket was lowered into the grave. The former Gordon Parish student mother, Julianne Weekes, had to be assisted by family members and friends as she placed a wreath on her son's grave. ANESTA Henry reporting for Barbados Today.
In other news, 19 workers at the Barbados Light and Power Company received their walk-in papers this morning. The cuts affected workers in the professional, supervisory and engineering groups who were informed at a one-on-one meeting with management. Human Resources Manager at Light and Power, Roger Baburam, says the specific roles were eliminated as part of a restructuring exercise to make the company more efficient. Just yesterday, the power company and the Barbados Workers Union held intense closed-door talks with Deputy Chief Labour Officer Victor Felix. But the two sides emerged admitting that there were still major differences on several matters, including severance pay. Private sector officials are not at all impressed with the 2015-2016 budget presentation by Finance Minister Chris Sinclair, and they are concerned that there will be no improvement in consumer spending power after Minister Chris Sinclair introduced a range of taxes to the tune of $200 million yesterday. Addressing a post-budget breakfast meeting at the Lloyd Erskine Sandyford Centre, President of the Barbados Chamber of Commerce, Tracy Shuffler, pointed out that the budget failed to address a number of issues aimed at growing the economy. She also maintains that the fiscal package was only geared towards correcting the island's fiscal position and raising revenue, rather than how government intends to address its spending.
Having not heard very specifically what some of the cost-cutting measures are, our concern is that the spending might actually increase. And that being the case, then we are not going to be making the progress that we would expect to, obviously, on the fiscal deficit. I think that's one of our greatest concerns, quite frankly. And when, for example, we made a bit of a comparison yesterday evening to the 2013 budget, and I think at that time the expense cutting was actually very well laid out. We're not necessarily talking implementation and how well it went in terms of the cost cutting, but it was very well laid out in the areas in which cuts were intended. So it was a little surprising, I think, to see that kind of void on the cost cutting side in terms of sharing of information as to what was going to happen in this budget year.
Opposition leader Mia Motley will respond to the budget at 4 o'clock this afternoon, but speaking on a television panel last night, party spokesman on economic matters, Dr. Clyde Maskell, argued that the budget would not lead to any growth.
Businesses have been hard hit. they have actually been asked to pay substantial taxes in this budget as well. But my major concern is the extent to which the budget is going to affect homeowners and households. And it is up for discussion. The removal of allowances and deductions that will increase the tax liability of Barbadians. There has been a minor reduction in the marginal tax rate, but that is not going to offset the increased tax liability that Barbadians will see as a result of this budget. So this has been difficult for Barbadians.
Vice Chancellor of the University of the West Indies, Sir Hilary Beckles, is calling for a partnership between the Barbados National Archive and the education institution. Addressing a forum on the past and future of the Barbados National Archive in observance of International Archive Day, the newly appointed UE administrator said the files contained in the Black Rock Archive building is too crucial to national identity to be left in its current inactive state. He said information in the archive also has cultural commercial value because it can be used as a basis for creative productions, and the university has the persons trained to make this happen.
I would urge the government of Barbados to consider placing that archive in a management relationship to the University of the West Indies, where we have the expertise, we have the technology, we have the student population, the research interests, to work with the archivists, to shift the archive to a higher level of social engagement.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
On the regional scene, police swooped down on a Trinidad community this morning, raiding several homes and arresting 4 suspects for various offenses. More in this report from TV6 News.
Stopped in our tracks, any attempt to interview residents in their homes during a police raid struck down by the officers. All right, so residents were trying to get them into their homes to show what was happening. They say that officers kicked down their door and abused some of the residents, but now officers have pushed us back all the way here and put these cars to block us, telling us that the zone is now cordoned off and we're not allowed inside. They're telling us this is for our safety and that we are preventing them from doing their jobs. Residents accused the police of kicking down doors and even throwing tear gas into one home. We asked officers on the scene if they had to use force for any reason. Their reply, no one was injured. From as early as 5 o'clock this morning, police, the Army, Customs, and the Interagency Task Force blocked the entrances. No one in or out without a search.
And finally, on the international scene, 5 Irish students are dead and at least 9 others were injured after a 4th-floor balcony collapsed in California. It is believed that they may have been holding a birthday party at the time of the incident, but officials are unsure about the cause of the collapse. More in this report from the BBC.
Yeah, well, quite a chaotic scene in Berkeley as police are investigating what's going on there. I'm here at Eden Medical Center in Castro Valley, where 4 people have been brought to and they're being treated now. 4 others were taken to local hospitals, including Highland, all around the East Bay. Now, what the friends tell me here at the ER waiting room is that they were all hanging out last night, and when the unthinkable happened, they said the balcony all of a sudden collapsed. At one point, there were reports that there were possibly too many people on the balcony, but that's still unconfirmed at this point. We don't know exactly why the balcony collapsed. But the young folks who are here, who are from Ireland, say they were here for the summer, they were working. It's unclear if they were students at UC Berkeley for the summer, but they are frantic, they are emotional and distraught. They haven't even called their parents yet because they don't know what to make of all of this.
And on that note, we come to the end of our afternoon updates, but you can join us again this evening. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, subscribe to our e-paper, our email updates, and like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on iZoomi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. We're also on Channel 101 online TV and Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Frenella Wedderburn. Good afternoon.